This is one of my most favorite meals of all time. Kidney beans are enjoyed across the world in many different ways, but this version, spicy, tangy, and served with rice, is one that keeps me full and charged all day. This is Rajma, and once you have made it, it will be on your meal plan every single week. I'm Shrikant Singh, and I'm a certified nutrition coach, and I turn complex recipes into simple, practical cooking so you can feel confident in your kitchen. Rajma or kidney beans is one of the best sources of plant protein and is very rich in fiber. It's on the heavier side, so you must eat this in moderation no matter how tasty it is. Let's start with the first step, soaking. I'm using large dark red kidney beans today, the most common variety. It's easy to find and one that gives this curry its bold, robust flavor. For this recipe, I'm going to take around 250 grams of dry kidney beans, that's about 1 cup, and place them in a large bowl. Add 4 to 5 cups of water, and this needs to soak for at least 8 hours or overnight. The beans absorb water and expand to almost 3 times their original volume. So that 1 cup that looked so little will be enough for 4 to 5 generous portions after soaking. In many recipes, kidney beans are also cooked without soaking, but the difference is cooking time, texture, and digestibility. I prefer to soak because you get a creamier, easier to digest bean, and all you have to do is to remember to soak them the night before. So when you make a meal plan, stick to it. After 8 hours of soaking, rinse and drain the water completely. Do this at least twice. Soaked beans have a slightly fermented smell which is completely normal, and rinsing well takes care of it. Now we cook these soaked beans. So into the pressure cooker, add the rinsed beans. That's around 3 cups of soaked beans. Add around 5 cups of fresh water to it. To this, add about 1 teaspoon of salt and half a teaspoon of turmeric. The turmeric gives a subtle color and earthy base, and the salt seasons the beans from inside. If you are using an electric pressure cooker, this takes about 15 minutes. Once done, let the pressure release on its own. However you cook them, the test is the same. Press one bean between your fingers. It should mash with no resistance. Soft and almost mushy. Better still, eat one, and if there is any crunch at the center, then close the cooker and give it some more time to cook. Undercooked rajma is not something you want to eat. It will cause indigestion and bloating and leave you with severe discomfort. Avoid canned beans if you can, but if that's your only option, rinse it gently to get rid of excess salt. Before we start cooking, let me show you the spices, and if you're a beginner, this is a good habit to build where you lay everything out before the pan goes on to heat and the oil starts to smoke. It makes the whole process easier and stress-free. We are using a mix of whole and ground spices today. The whole spices go in first and they will flavor the oil and build the base of the curry. So you will need 1 black cardamom. It gives a smoky, slightly camphor-like aroma and flavor. It's very different from the small green cardamom you may know of. Then about an inch of cinnamon or cassia stick to give a warm and woody aroma. And tej patta, sometimes it's called as Indian bay leaf, which has a clove-like aroma and flavor. If you can't find tej patta, add 2 or 3 cloves and that will do. If you don't have these whole spices, you can still make this curry with the ground spices. So don't stop yourself from attempting this. For ground spices, we need just 4 of them. 1.5 teaspoon of coriander powder, half a teaspoon of cumin powder, and notice how the cumin is darker than the coriander. That's how you tell them apart if you're new to these spices. Then half a teaspoon of turmeric and 1 teaspoon of Kashmiri red chili powder. Kashmiri chili is important here. It's milder in heat, but it gives a deep, vibrant red color to the curry. If you substitute regular chili powder here, use less, or else the heat will overpower everything. Now, if you have been following this channel for a while, you may have seen my older video where I have shown how to make a curry base from scratch. And this recipe, it builds on the same foundation and technique, and the method used is almost similar. What we are going to do different here today is that we'll add 2 more extra spices on the top that will shift the flavor slightly. And if you have made the base before, then you will taste the difference. But we'll get to that later. To get a smooth curry, we start with an onion puree. Take 1 medium onion, which should be around 100 grams. chop it coarsely, and this should give you about 1 cup of it. Add this into a small blender jar with very small amount of water, just enough to get the blade moving. Adding too much water will give you this onion juice and that will not cook at all. So blend it into a completely smooth paste and set it aside. Now for the tomato puree, chop around 200 grams of tomato coarsely. That's about 2 cups. Add this into a blender along with 4 to 5 small garlic cloves or about 1 tablespoon of it. Add an equal amount of ginger and 1 green chili that's been slit and de-seeded. Blend everything into a completely smooth puree with no bits of garlic or ginger sticking out. If you don't have a small blender jar, an immersion blender works just fine. So both purees are ready and now we cook. Heat 3 tablespoons of oil in a wide pan on medium heat. We want the oil to warm up gently and not start smoking. Ghee works beautifully here, or any other oil that has a high smoke point. Once the oil is warm, add the whole spices, black cardamom, cinnamon and tej patta, and let the oil do its job. Within about 30 seconds, the spices will start releasing their aroma, and that's your cue. As soon as you smell the fragrance, add the onion puree. Stir it into the oil and cook until most of the moisture has evaporated. This takes about 5 minutes on medium heat. We are not browning the onions heavily here. The goal is to cook out the raw pungency while keeping the natural sweetness intact and soften the texture. Once the onion paste is cooked down, add the tomato puree, and this carries the ginger, garlic and chili too, so the aroma will hit you immediately, which is quite sharp at first. Cook this for about 6 to 8 minutes until it thickens and that sharp aroma mellows. You will also see some oil beginning to separate from the paste. It will shimmer around the edges, and that's the sign that you're ready for the next step, which is when you add all the ground spices and mix well. Cook for around 2 to 3 minutes and add a tiny amount of salt. You need to be careful here because we had already added salt to the beans when it was boiling. If more salt is needed, you can always add at the end. But remember, you can't undo this, so be a little careful. Now, up to this point, this is your standard curry base, and all the cues that I have given will be the basic technique that you will be using in most of the dishes. You can also use this exact base for other beans or chicken, and it works perfectly. If you want to make a batch and store it, that's a wonderful option. It freezes well in silicone molds, but if you want to bottle it up and keep it in a refrigerator, then just cook it with a little extra oil to preserve it. And if you want more ideas on building meals like this into your week, quick and healthy, I have a salad ebook that pairs beautifully with hearty meals like Rajma. It has all the salad dressings that you can think of and many different ways in which you can make nutritious salads. I also have a meal planning guide that will make your life easier. The links are in the description below. Now we will add these 2 extra spices that I was talking about. These are optional, but the flavor it adds will set this apart. The first spice is amchur, which is dried mango powder. It's a dry souring agent and it works differently from lemon juice. If you don't have amchur, which is a very common but useful spice, use lemon juice instead, but add it only at the time of serving. Now add the cooked rajma to the pan. You have to be careful with the amount of water that goes in along with the rajma. At the end of cooking rajma, you should have around 2 cups of water remaining, and that should be enough for this portion that I am showing you. But if you're unsure, add the beans first without the water or very little water, stir them through and mix it into the masala. Then add the cooking water gradually, a little at a time, until you reach the consistency you desire. And this is where most curries get ruined. Too much water goes in and then there's no going back from it, and it dilutes the flavor completely. If the gravy is thinner than you would like, mash some of the beans directly into the pan with the back of a spoon, but not all of them, just enough to release some starch. It thickens the gravy naturally and makes it noticeably creamier. Now it's time to add the second additional spice, kasuri methi or dried fenugreek leaves. Once you learn how to use this, you will absolutely fall in love with this spice. Kasuri methi adds a gentle bitterness and an earthy, slightly smoky aroma. Stir it in and let everything simmer together on low heat for about 10 minutes. And this is not a step to rush. The beans need some time to absorb the masala and the flavors need some time to come together. Then turn off the flame and let the rajma sit in the pan for at least 10 minutes before serving. This resting allows the beans to absorb the masala even more deeply, and the flavor after resting is noticeably better than right off the heat. The curry will also thicken naturally as it cools down a little bit. And for the meal planners, if you're storing this to eat later, cool it completely before refrigerating. And when you're reheating it, let it warm up gradually and only then add small amounts of water if at all it is required. Otherwise, you will end up thinning the gravy too much. Now, how to serve this? Kidney beans and any legumes are best eaten with grains to make it a complete protein meal. Across the world, you will see that kidney beans are eaten with roti, bread, rice, tortillas, all for the same nutritional reason. In India, rajma is paired with basmati rice because kidney beans are heavy, they're hearty and filling, and basmati rice is on the lighter side. They balance each other perfectly. And together, they cover all the 9 essential amino acids, making this a complete protein meal. Kidney beans are also a rich source of iron and folate, but because this iron is coming from a plant-based food, it's better to add some amount of ghee on the top at the time of serving. This will enhance the absorption of the nutrients. One last thing, rajma is a lunch meal and not a dinner meal. Your digestion is strongest during the day when you're active and moving. By evening, your digestive system is slowing down, so give it something lighter at night. And that's where my salad ebook will help you with choices. Make this and soon you will find out that this will become one of the best things that you can carry with you for lunch. If you made this recipe today, drop a comment and tell me how it turned out, and I will see you soon in another one.